Okay, good morning, everyone. So, so here, so anyway, yesterday I said about how to, so yesterday I said about what your learning is, right? So these are the things what we have seen in the last class. So these are the things what we have seen. And I said, what is the main objective of learning full stack Python? And after that, I said about what are the types of applications, right? So then I said applications are two types. So one is called as a standalone applications. Okay, I said what is a standalone application is an application which is executed individually or independently is called standalone application. And this application doesn't require any network or what internet. So this application doesn't require any other applications to what run. So that application is called as what standalone. And I said example is like Notepad, calculator, paint, word, excel, all these are called which applications? Standalone applications. I mean these applications are installed in one system and executed from same system. And I said these standalone applications are two types. One is command user interface and one more is graphical user interface, which is nothing but character user interface, and one more is graphical user interface. And after that, I said about what is a web application is. An application whose resources are accessed from browser is called which application? Web application. So always you try to communicate. Always you try to communicate with the web application, or you try to access a web application from where? Browser, right? So an application which access from browser is called web application. And this application required networking, that is internet or what? Intranet. So from where you are trying to access it from? Chrome, Edge, Mozilla. So such kind of applications you call it as what? Web applications. So then next one I said about what is mobile application is. An application which runs within mobile device is called mobile applications. So all these are called which applications? Mobile apps, right? And after that, I said about what is distributed application is. An application whose resources are distributed to other applications is called which application? Distributed application. Okay. So now what you are learning is in this class you are learning two things. In this class you are learning two things. One is how to develop web applications. You learn how to develop web application, and you also learn how to develop which application? Distributed applications. So in this class you are learning two things: developing web applications and developing what? Distributed applications. Means you develop this web application by using DJANGO. Okay. And you are developing distributed APIs by using which one? REST API. So you want this web application resources accessed by any other application, then you access it by using one interface. You develop some interface or you develop some APIs. That is nothing but application programming interface. Understood? Suppose you develop web application, getting on it. You develop one web application, and this is web application, and this web application resources want to access from mobile application. So this is which app here? Mobile app. But in order to run this web application, you access this web application from where? Browser. But you want to access this web application resources from what? Mobile app. So can you run web? Can you access web application from mobile? No. If you want to access web application, you should access only from browser. Then how can I use the services of this web application here? Then what you do is you develop some APIs. You develop some APIs. That is nothing but application programming interface. Getting or not? Suppose assume that login with, okay, suppose there is one website. There is one website where you have a different logins. Register, register yourself or login with what? Gmail. Login with what here? Facebook. This is your application. XYZ is what? Your application, web application. But you are trying to log in with which credentials? Gmail. You are login with which credential? Facebook. It means this is your application, right? And this application is using the services of which one? Gmail. Your application is using the services of which one? Facebook. Getting or not? So it means Gmail is providing one API. Gmail is providing what? One API. And in the Facebook also providing one API. So what if this API provides some functions? Which function is given to the XYZ application? Sign in function. So it means you enter username and password. But who's verifying that username and password is Gmail? But how this XYZ application is communicating with what? Gmail. Yes. How this XYZ application is communicating with the Gmail? How this XYZ application is communicating with what? Facebook. Yes. It means Gmail functionality is accessed by which application? XYZ application. This Gmail application may be written in any language. It might be written in Java, or it might be written in PHP, or it might be written in what? Python. But irrespective of it, that functions are accessed by which one? XYZ. So how one application is communicating with what? Other application. So that is done by developing some APIs, right? So these APIs also you develop as a part of your course. You are not only developing web applications, you are also developing what? APIs. APIs by use this APIs used by any other application to access the resources of your web application, right? So that is what exactly the meaning of which one? Distributed application. Understood? So web application and one more is what? Distributed application. Okay. Suppose you take this one here. For example, if you take, what is it? You have an hacker rank, right? For example, hacker rank is there. So this is hacker rank is a web application. This is a web application or not? This is a web application because you access this from where? Browser. Okay. So here I say login. I click on login here. So here login is there for companies and for developers or something is given, right? So I don't have an account. Then you can say here login, right? So when you click on this login here, so already I logged in. Okay, no problem. Okay. So, but when you click on login, what will happen is it will try to ask, whether you want to log in from, I just log out this, login again. So I said here login. Now here, this is a login, right? This is a login. And this is, now this is a login where you have a different options here. Login with what here? Continue with what? Google. Continue with what? LinkedIn, GitHub, and what is that? Facebook. Getting on. Suppose if I click on continue with Google, so what will happen? It is trying to ask to enter username and password of which one? Gmail. Yes, it means this hacker rank is using the services of which one? Gmail. So who's verifying this username and password? Gmail. And returning some value. Is it these credentials are correct or not? It means one application is communicating with what? Or one application is using the services of what? Another application. But how it is interact? By using some APIs. And that APIs you develop it by using certain rules and regulations. That rules you call it as which one? REST rules. Okay, now REST is nothing but a protocol. Okay, REST is nothing but protocol. And by using this protocol, you are trying to develop what? APIs, right? Okay. So that is what you are trying to do it exactly. And then after that, I said about what is a front end. Yesterday, I said what is a front end and no, see, APIs can be a public. Generally, you find APIs, public APIs, and one more is private APIs. Public and one more is what? Private. Public APIs and private APIs. Suppose you develop one e-commerce application. Now you want to do some payment gateway. Okay, like Gmail or Phone Pay. Then what do you have to do? So those APIs are public or private? Private. Those are not public. Those are what? Private. If you want to integrate Gmail or Phone Pay in your website, then you have to take some license from whom? GPay or what is that? Phone Pay, right? So, but you cannot use it directly. So this APIs can be either public or it can be what? Private. Okay. So like Twitter APIs, these are public. Twitter API is what? Public, where you can put the message from anywhere, right? So what is a front end? What is a front end is, okay, front end is nothing but user interface. Front end is nothing but what here? User interface, or what's seen inside a browser is called which one? Front end. And front end used by the end user to communicate with what? Application. You go to ATM. ATM is which application? Huh? ATM is which application? You go to ATM, right? ATM is which application? It is a web application that is run inside a browser. What you see is a browser. That is browser. You don't know. It is a web application and that uses certain APIs to communicate with what? Other banks, right? Yes. So yes, what you see in the browser that you call it as which one? Front end. What you see in the browser is called as a front end. So without front end, there's no use of what? Back end, right? So back end usage is the input. You require some interface or not? Yes, that interface you call it as what? Front end. Okay, that is called as a front end. Okay, that is called as a front end. Now I say no, like, so you open the Facebook. This is called as what? Front end. This is front end, where you give the username and password. This is a front end. And for developing this front end, you are using which technologies? Front end technologies. What are these front end technologies? HTML, CSS, JS, Angular. In this, certain technologies can be used at back end also. For example, Node is there. Node can be used at what? Backend also, right? So HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Angular JS, Node JS, React JS, and what is that? Bootstrap. Okay, all these Tailwind CSS. These are libraries actually. Bootstrap and Tailwind CSS. These are what? CSS libraries. These are predefined CSS styles are provided by some Bootstrap and what is that? Tailwind CSS. These are called libraries. Which libraries? CSS libraries. CSS libraries. You know CSS, right? You know CSS, right? What is CSS stands for? Cascading style sheets. Okay. Are you created any styles, sir? You create a styles, right? You create a styles. How many types of styles are there? Three types, right? What is the first one is? Inline. What is the first one is? Inline. Inline. Second is uh, internal. Third one is externals. Now Bootstrap is what now? Inline, internal, external, external. This is what? External. How you link it? By using link. What is the tag you use it? Link, right? So bootstrap is what? Internal or external? External. External, right? External. It is not internal. It is what? External. You include this. Even this is also because this is external CSS. Somebody's developed CSS styles. You are using it. So that makes it users development process what easy. Rather than you create your own CSS styles, you'll try to use what existing CSS. So that you call it as libraries. These are libraries. Okay, na right. This is what a front end is. Then next is what you have. What is a back end is? Back end means what you cannot see it. You cannot see the back end here. What you see is the front end. You enter username. You enter what here? Password. You enter username. You enter password. Then click on what? Login. Then what will happen? Something will happen or not? Yes. You don't know what will happen is right. But when you enter a username and password, and when you click on login, what will happen? This input is given to backend. This input is given to backend. Where is backend? It is backside of monitor. Where is the backend? Where is the backend? Where this program is? It is there in what? Server. It is there in what? Server. You are sending this input to what? Server. Okay, server identifies like you are sending this input to which program? Which backend program? So this input is given to some backend program, and that backend program will verify is it this username password is valid or not. If it is valid, it just give the details of your Facebook. Okay, if it is invalid, it just give user invalid username or password. So that is done by whom? Backend. That is done by what? Backend. Backend. That is backend, right? Which you cannot see it. That is called as a backend. Okay, right? So that is what is the meaning of backend. Now, what are the types of applications you have is web applications are two types. One is a static web application and one more is dynamic. Yes. Now this is what I'm speaking about it. Okay. So there are two types of web applications. One is a static web application. One is a static web application and one more is what? Dynamic. One is a static web application and one more is what? Dynamic. Okay, na? Yes. Now you should know all these terminologies, right? Because once you join in the company, okay, you should know where is a web application. Where is your web application? Where your web application resides? Who will execute your web application? Where you install your web application? Are you develop any web application? No. Or you develop your any web application or not? Developed or not developed? Developed, right? Using HTML and CSS. That is which web application? Dynamic or static? Static. You developed or not? Yes. Then are you installed your web application anywhere? Installed or not installed? Huh? Not installed. You develop web application in which IDE? VS Code? VS Code only? Huh? Then how you run your web application? Browser, right? You directly open in the browser or click and say open with something? Run with? Run with? Run with? Run with? Server or browser? Server. With server? Then are you install your web application in any server? Yes or no? No. Yes. Which server? Then you don't know what is live server is. Live server will be there or not there? Huh? What do you say here? Yes or no? No problem. Huh? You don't know. No problem. So what is a static web application? वो पूरा मालूम है पोर्ट नंबर 5500 yes yes okay now let me tell you what is a static web application. For developing static web application, what technologies you should know it. Okay na? Yes, this is a static web application. And what is a static web application is? What is a static web application is? What is static means fixed. Static means what here? Fixed. And suppose whenever you are talking about this static web application, whose content doesn't changes from one request to what? Another request. The content of this page or the content of this web application doesn't changes from one user to another user. That application you call it as what? Static. For all the users, the content of this page will be what? Same. Tell me example. One static web application example. Don't say Facebook. Facebook first page is what? Static. Landing page. This first page is called what? Landing pages. These landing pages are static or dynamic? Static. These landing pages are what? Static. Company websites. Company websites are static or dynamic? Static. Your portfolio. You have a portfolio, right? Your portfolio is static or dynamic? Static. If I open it, same portfolio. Somebody open it, same portfolio. Is it that is a static or dynamic? Static. See, landing pages are static. This is a landing page, right? The first page, what you see in your browser is called which page? Landing page. So this is a static. Your portfolio is a static. Your college website is what? Static. Where you just browse what? Information. Your college website is what? Static. It is not a dynamic, right? So where you see all the information about college, right? So such kind of web applications, you call it as what? Static web applications. Okay, for developing, see, you understood what is static is? Static means what? Fixed. Static means what? Fixed. The content of this page is what? Fixed for all the users. The content of this page is fixed for all the users. For example, newspaper. You have a newspaper website, right? You open newspaper. You'll get same paper. I open newspaper, I'll get same paper. Somebody open newspaper, he'll get what? Same. Is it news changes from one person to another? Changes from one person to another or same news? Same news. The content will be what? Same. It doesn't changes from one user to what? Another. It is common for everyone. Okay, that kind of web application, you call it as what? Static. So which is common for everyone, right? So just to see here, what is static web application? What is static? Just now I said no. What is a static web application? A web application whose content is fixed for all the users is called which application? Static web application. I should know how to answer it, right? NARESH technology website is what? Static. What it shows only course details, trainers profile, all the things, right? That is a fixed. You open it, you'll get same course schedule. Somebody open it, same course schedule. For that, is it required to learn Django, na? For developing NARESH website, you require Django, na? Yes or no? Yes, sir. For developing NARESH website, you require Django? What do you say? Yes or no? Not required. You know HTML, CSS, you can develop. Understood? So like content managed system, content, CMS web, like tutorials. All the tutorials are what? Dynamic or static? Static. W3 schools is what? Dynamic or static? Static. अभी उसके अंदर क्या बुक्स रहता है? ओ बुक ओपन द पेज वन बाय वन रीड इट. All the people will have the same or different? Same. वो डेवलप करने के लिए क्या होना? Django ना? Not required Django. What you required? HTML, CSS. खत्म. HTML, CSS, if you know it, you can develop it. Understood? Huh? So a web application, yes. Yeah, that's the reason I didn't say Facebook is a static, right? So Facebook landing page is what? Facebook landing page is a static. Landing pages will be a static. Okay, certain web application landing page is a static. You say landing page is static. But once you enter username and password, that page which is inserted with some content or not, yes, that is what? Dynamic. Yes. Now, static web application whose content is fixed for all what? Users. So this content doesn't changes from one user to another user. So that you call it as which one? Static. Doesn't changes from one user to another. This content is fixed. Okay, right? So when you say web application is a collection of what? Static resources as well as what? Dynamic resources. Okay, web application is a collection of static resources as well as what? Dynamic resources. What are the static resources? Are HTML, CSS, images, audio, video. All these are what? Static. Now the static web application is a collection of which resources? Static resources. Okay. Yes. For developing static web application, or static web application is developed. Static web application is developed. Static web application is developed using. First one is using what? HTML. Using what? CSS. You can use what? Bootstrap. Okay. So these are enough. If you want to perform any operations, then you can take the help of which one? JavaScript. Otherwise, you don't require to use what? JavaScript. Getting or not? Okay. Example for static web applications is like landing pages of any company can be called as static. Okay, like users, what is that? Portfolio. It is also what? Static. Understood? Like tutorials. Okay, tutorials is also called which one? Static websites. Okay, tutorials also called which one? Static. And this static web application doesn't perform any processing at what? Any processing at what? Server side. It will not do anything at what? Server side. It will not do anything at what? Server side. Static web application doesn't perform processing at what? Server side. Server side, it will not do anything. It just get the page from server to what? Client. And web pages get executed where? Who understand HTML? Who understand HTML? Browser. Who understand HTML? Browser. What browser is having? What browser is having? Browser is having what? No. Suppose you write a program in Python. Who understand Python? Python translator or not? Yes. Python translator. Everything is executed in Python program is done by Python runtime, huh? No. Is it all the things are executed by Python runtime? No. Yes. So who understand the Python code? Python translator. Who understand the HTML? HTML translator. Where is HTML translator? Within the browser. That is called HTML parser or not? Yes. HTML parser. HTML parser or HTML engine. HTML, is it a standard or not? Is it standard? Okay, what is the current standard of HTML? 5. HTML 5. Yes or no? These are technical. Anyway, no problem. See here, static web application doesn't perform processing at which one? Server side. So it's just a server just you send a request to server for a specific page that will pay, that page is downloaded and executed within browser. That's it, right? So, but it will not do anything at what? Server side. Okay, then there is one more web application, and what is that? Dynamic. There is one more web application, and that is what? Dynamic web application. Okay, you understood Statica? All of you? You understood what is a static web application, right? So its content is fixed for all users. So the content of that page doesn't changes from one user to another. That you call it as which one? Static. Example is I said no landing pages, portfolio, tutorials. All these are which applications? Static web applications. The content of the page doesn't changes from one request to another request. That kind of applications you call it as static. The content of that page is fixed. The content of that page is what? Fixed. That is called static. Understood? The content of that page is fixed. Yes, very good. Very good. Right? I'll tell you, Meghana. Don't worry. Okay. Now see here. pypi.org. What is pypi? Python package index. This is one place where you find all Python libraries. If you open this, you get some content, right? Tell me, this content is the same for all users or different? Same or different? Same. All users, it is what? Same. You see, what is the official website of Python? Tell me here, www.python.org. Tell me, is it this is same for all users or different? Same or not? This is static or dynamic? Static. నువ్వు ఓపెన్ చేసి ఇదే వస్తుంది, ఎవరు ఓపెన్ చేసిన ఇదే వస్తుంది. You get the same content. It doesn't changes from one user to another. This content about, in the place of about, you'll get some other thing. If you open, you'll get some other thing or same? Same. If you click on applications, you'll get same. Same for all the people or different? Same. This content will be the same. It doesn't changes. That you call it as which one? Static. So how you develop this? How you develop this? Django, na? You require Django? No, not required. Very good. What do you require? HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and JavaScript. Katham. Understood? Right? So that you call it as static web application. Right? Yes. That is look and feel here, not some pages. That depends on your browser. Okay, right? Then there is dynamic web application. So dynamic web application, a web application whose content changes. Whose content what here changes from input from one input to what? Another input is called which application? Dynamic web application. Dynamic web application means the content of this page, the content of this application changes from one input to another, or the content of this application changes based on the input. The content web application changes based on which one? Input is called which application? Dynamic. Means it is not fixed. It changes from one user to another user. So it changes. Okay. The content it changes. The content is not fixed. The content it changes from one user to one user to another. Is called which one? Dynamic. That is called as what? Dynamic. That is called as a dynamic. Okay, suppose I open the browser. So I open the browser and here, yes, what will take Facebook only, right? So once you open the Facebook, okay, same Facebook only, you enter username and what? Password. This page is fixed or dynamic? Fixed. Then when you enter username and password and click on login, you enter your username and what? Password. Once you click on login, what will happen? You will get one page or not? Yes. That page content is same for all the users. No. It changes from one user to another. It will generate one page by feeding or inserting. It will create one page by inserting whose data? My data. It will create one page by inserting whose data? My data, because I log in with my username, right? Suppose you log in, then for you it will create one page by inserting whose data? Yours data. It means that page content is fixed for all the users or changing? Changing. Based on what? Input. Based on what? Input. Now that is called as which one? Dynamic. Getting on or not? Suppose Gmail is there. Gmail. I log in with Gmail. I just give some username. Okay. I just log in with username and password, right? So I just give the password here. Now tell me, once I say next, what will happen? I'll get one page or not? Yes. That page contain whose details? My details, my mails. Your mails or my mails? My mails. If you log in, then you get a page by inserting whose mails? Your mails. That means the content of that page is fixed or dynamic? Dynamic. Fixed or dynamic? Dynamic. Then that page is static page or dynamic page? Dynamic page. This is dynamic. This is not static. Right now, this page, what you see here is a dynamic. But how can I generate this dynamic? Dynamic, then compulsory you required some programs at which one? Backend. Yes or no? So I should generate the output. I should generate some output, right? Output should be generated. Output should be generated. Then to generate output, you require certain programs. At which end? Backend. Now that backend programs are required. Something will happen at the backend, what you cannot see it. So you enter this username and password and send to a backend. Then what backend program will do? Receive this username and password and verifies, is it this username password is valid or not? If it is valid, what it is doing? It is getting all your mail details from where? Database, and inserting this mail details within one page and sending to what? Client. It's feeding some data into the page, right? It is inserting some data within the page. It is inserting the data within the page and sending to whom? Client. So this page, now this page is a fixed or dynamic? Dynamic. For generating this dynamic content, what you required? Alright, to generate this dynamic content, what you required? Some programs. Some programs at which side? Server side. For example, online reservation. You reserve the tickets by giving your details or not? Yes. Who will reserve? Some person will be there. Backend, some person will be there or some program will be there? Program will be there. That program, what it will do? It will take your details and reserve it and generate some output or not? Yes. That output is fixed or dynamic? Dynamic. So whenever you are talking about a web, right? Web understand only. Whenever you talk about web understand only one language. And what is that language is? What is that language is? HTML. How you give the input using HTML? How generate the output using HTML? How you present the data? How HTML is what? Presentation or representation? Presentation. Presentation. What do you present? What do you present? Information or data or not? Yes. But you want that information to be generated what? Dynamically. Then what you require? Some programs. At which side? Backend. Understood or not? So for developing dynamic applications, dynamic web applications here, dynamic web applications required. What it required? Some backend technologies, right? What is that? You develop it by using what? DJANGO. You develop it by using which one here? Plus, if it is Python. For example, if it is what do you call it as PHP? PHP is a front end or back end? Back end. Suppose if you take ASP.NET, ASP is a .NET. This is a front end or back end? Back end. This is .NET technology, right? Suppose if you are working with what is that? Spring Boot. Spring Boot is belongs to which one? Java. Spring Boot is belongs to what? Java. So all these are used for developing which applications? Dynamic web applications. So this application performs certain operations at what? Server side. Okay, these applications, right? These applications, these applications required some. These applications are executed, or these applications. So static application doesn't perform any processing at what? Server side. But these applications do processing at what? Server side. Server side programs, client side programs. Server side means the programs which is executed within server. The programs which are executed within the client. Who's the client in web browser? Your HTML page is executed within what? Browser. Does it browser understand Django? Na? Browser understand Django or HTML? HTML. Yes or no? So these applications do processing at what? Server side and give the result to whom? Client. Understood? Understood or not? So how many types of web applications are there? Two types. What is that? Static and one more is dynamic. Static means fixed. Whose content doesn't changes from one user to another. That means the content of this web application will be the same for all users. For developing this, you require HTML, CSS like this. And in static web application, you don't do any processing at what? Server side. Okay. So dynamic web application, a web application whose content changes from one input to another. So the content which changes from one request to another, from one input to another, that you call it as which one? Dynamic. So is it content of this will be the same for all the users? No. It changes from one input to another input done by the user. So this dynamic web applications required some technologies, right? What is that here? Django, Flask, PHP, ASP.NET, and one more is what? Spring Boot. So this is Java, this is .NET, and this both belongs to what? Python. This is Python, and this is also what? Python. Okay, this is Python. And this application do processing at what? Server side. This application do processing at what? Server side. Okay. Clear up to this, right? Okay. Then for developing this dynamic web application, okay, for developing this dynamic application, yes, you understood? Client side technologies, and one more is what? Server side. See, it is just simple as it is as simple as like this. It is as simple as like this. Okay. Every yes, we'll see differences here. Don't worry. So whenever you are talking about any dynamic web application, see here, just to try to understand. So here, what I'm developing is this is one simple landing page where you input. What you input is what you input? Username and password. Okay. Now this is a UI or not? Yes. How you develop this? Yes, you know it very good. How you develop this using? How you develop this using? HTML. Okay, HTML and CSS. This is called user interface or not? Yes. Then what do you do it? You enter. What do you enter? Username. And what you enter is password. Then click on what? Sign in. Click on what? Sign in. Then you are sending these details to one. You are sending this is details to one. You are sending these details to one program. You are sending these details to one program, which is there at what? Server side. You are sending this input to one program. You are sending this input to one program, and this program is which one? HTML. This is HTML. No, this is not HTML. This is not JavaScript, right? This is one program, and this program should take what? Username and password. You are sending this username and password to one program. You go to bank. You want to deposit. What do you do it? You enter your details and give it to one person or not? Yes, that person is doing what? Deposit. Now you enter username and password and click on what? Sign in. Then these details are sent to one program. This is one program. This is one program. This take this username and password and verifies. Verify. Where it will verify? It will verify within the database. It will verify within the database. Now, is it this username is correct or not? If the username is correct, what this program is doing? If this username is correct, what this program is doing? What this program is doing? It is generating output or not? Yes, output is in the form of, or input is done using what? HTML. Output is also? Very good. Output is also what? HTML. But this HTML content is fixed, fixed or dynamic. Then who is inserting data into this HTML and sending? This program. This program. Who's reading the data and inserting data into this page? By this program. Now this program is which program? This is called which program? Server side program. And this is called as which one? Backend. And this program you are writing in which language? Python. This program you are writing in which language? Python. Understood? So here you get welcome. What you message? You'll get welcome. Welcome whom? Welcome welcome ABC. Welcome ABC or welcome? Welcome ABC, because this is a content of who? Which user? ABC user. Then he'll get all the details of which user? ABC user. So who's inserting all these details into this page and sending it? By the program which is there at which side? Server side. Understood? What do you say here? This is designed, pre-designed, already available. This page is designed, but this page is not. This page is designed or not designed? Not designed. That is generated how? Dynamically by inserting what? Data, right? Yes. Just to try to understand here. So what is exactly a front? No, but this complete thing is called what? Your web application is having how many resources? Your this is complete web application, right? This web application is having web application is a combination of what? Front end and back end. Yes, your web application is having two things. One is a front end is there, and one more is what? Back end. You are developing a front end, you are developing back end. What is a front end is for user interface. What is back end is for processing. Getting or not? So you are developing your web application is a combination of what? Both front end as well as what? Back end. If it is having only front end, it is called. If it is having only front end, then it is called static. If it is having front end and back end, then it is what? Dynamic. Getting or not? So web application generally, web application development. Web application development is combination of what? Combination of what? Front end and back end. So as a web developer, you develop both. You develop a front end, you also develop a back end. Then only you call it as a full stack, right? If you develop only front end, then you are a front end developer. If you develop only back end, then you call it as back end developer. But what you are? Full stack. Nowadays, every company is looking for what? Full stack. Not one development, right? So you should know all in one. Versatile person who can do everything. Front end development, back end development, database, deployment, everything. If he's doing it, then it's called as which developer? Full stack developer. Lot of demand for full stacks, right? Okay. Then all-rounder, very good. All-rounder. That is all-rounder, right? Lot of demand for all-rounders. You can bat, bowl, fielding. Yes, that person is called what? All-rounders. Lot of demand. Only bowling means some days you survive, some days you don't survive. If you are all-rounder, then you survive lifelong until you retire. But if you know only one technology, then it is difficult, right? Okay, then for developing this, yes, up to this clear. Tell me example for dynamic web applications. Tell me example for dynamic. Redbus, Instagram, very good. Instagram. If you log in Instagram, what you'll get? Your post or somebody else post? Yes or no? Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, daily. LinkedIn, all this, Gmail, okay, Netflix, Snapshot, okay, not ClickBus. It's same for all people. That is static. YouTube, yes or no? So in YouTube, you log in, your feeds comes. Means what you see, that will come, right? Not all people, right? So that is static or dynamic? Static. Getting on or not? Suppose if you take Indian Railways, what is that? IRCT. IRCT or not? Yes, is a fixed or dynamic? Dynamic. IRCTC, okay. IRCTC. And then what? Amazon. Amazon, huh? Amazon? Amazon. Amazon. All these are correct. All these are fixed or dynamic? Dynamic. Understood? Yes. Zomato. Naukri, SBI, SDF, all banking, banking. I don't require to write all. SDFC Bank, SBI Bank, not required. Yes, banking applications, all these are e-commerce, e-business, e-commerce or e-business. All those applications are fixed or dynamic? Dynamic, where it required to do some processing. Yes. So for web application development, you require two softwares. How many softwares you required in web application development? Two. One is client and one more is a server. Understood? So how many things you required? Two things. One is a client and one more is a server. So web application development, okay, web application, suppose you want to develop Python programs, then you should install which software? Which software? Python software. Yes or no? Huh? If you want to work with the Java, then you install which software? Java. Yes or no? In the same way, if you want to develop web application, you require some softwares or not? Yes. Web application development required how many softwares? Two softwares. One is what? Client software and one more is what? Server. Client. Who's the client in web? Browser. Who's the client in web? Browser. What do you require? Browser. Why you require a browser? Because you access your web application from what? Browser. And browser is called thin client. In web application development, who's the client is? Browser. Client name is not you. You are directly communicating. No, you take the help of one. You take the help of one program. That is called thin client. On behalf of you, it is doing everything. Who is doing everything on behalf of you? Browser. And that browser is called which software? Client software. In web application development, browser is called which software? Client software. Because you are communicating with your web application by using one program. What is that program is? Client program. And that is nothing but browser. Suppose if somebody asks, who's a client in web development? Browser. Who's a client in web development? Browser. Because, yes. So in web application, now this is client. Client means not you. Client means not you. Client means you only. But how you do it? Using one mediator. Who's that mediator? Browser. And because of that is called as thin client. Thin client. Thin means not directly. Not directly. It is what? Indirectly. Not directly. It is what? Indirectly. That is called as thin client. Right? So client. In web application development, a client is what here? Browser. Okay, browser is called which client actually? Thin client. Because web application is accessed by the user, end user or client by using browser. Web application is accessed. Web application is accessed by the client. With the help of what? Browser. With the help of browser. Okay, first you required which one in your system? What is required in your system? Browser. Okay, na? So anyway, browser will be there or not? Yes. Okay, example, all these are thin clients. What is that? Edge, Chrome, what is that? Mozilla, all this comes under which one? Browsers. Okay, you required this. Next is what? Server. Very good. You required a server. Server you required. Where is server now? Where is the server? Server, right? Where is server now? Server you required, right? What server you required? Which server you required? अरे which server you required here? MySQL server है. What server you required? Server you required. What is server? Is a program or not? Yes. Server is a program. Server is a program where you install your server is a program where you install your application. Because who will serve? You develop web application. Who will serve? Server. What is the role of server? Is serving. To whom server? To whom it is serving it? Clients. When client asks get this, then server will give you. If you ask server get this, then server will give you. If you ask server get idli, means it will get idli. Right? You go to hotel, you ask server serve idli, means he'll serve idli. From where is he getting it? From kitchen. Now kitchen is your application, right? Kitchen is your application. Okay, now you are asking home, server, get idli. Then what server is doing? What server is doing? Server is preparing. No. Who's preparing? Chef is there. Chef is there not? Where is chef? Kitchen. What is your kitchen is? Application. What is your kitchen is? Application. Chef is what? Program. Which program? Server side program. Simple. Chef is which program? Server side program. Kitchen is what? Application. Server will go to home, kitchen and ask, I want idli. Then one person will be there who prepare. Who prepare what? Idli. He prepare idli and give it to whom? Server. And server give it to customer. Easy. But don't say this answer. Right? So, yes. Which communicate between client and if that we'll see here. But first you try to understand server. The responsibility of server is serving. What it is serving? The responsibility of server is what? Serving. What it is serving? Web application resources. It is serving web application resources. But you are asking whom? Server. And server is communicating with what? Application. Server is communicating with what? Application. Understood? Right? So what is this server is called actually? In web application development, okay, I said two programs will be there. One is client and one more is server. You have a live server, right? What is that live server is called? Server, client server. दो लोग है यार, दो लोग है. एक X person is there and Y person is there. X person and Y person. Now they want to have communication. They want to have communication, right? Suppose you want to ask some money. This is server. This is assume that server is there. And this is what here? Client. Now you want to ask money to this server. How you ask? How you ask? ఎట్లా అడుగుతారు? నోట్తో అడుగుతారా ఇంకేమైనా అడుగుతారా? నోట్తో అడుగుతారు కదా. ఏమని? యూ ఆస్క్, బాబు నాకు ఈ మనీ కావాలి. I want 100 rupees. You ask whom? Why? In which language? Telugu, Hindi, English. Yes, you ask in one language or not? Yes. Now this is X. Want to communicate with what? Y. You want to ask something, right? You ask in one. You ask in one language. You are giving some input, right? You are giving some input to what? Y. But how you give this input? In web development, how this communication is done? In web development, how client-server communication is done? By using one protocol. What is that protocol is called? What is that protocol is called? HTTP. What is that protocol is called? HTTP. What is HTTP stands for? Very good. So it is which protocol? Okay, yeah. It is which protocol? Application protocol. How many layers will be there in networking? Any computer science students? How many layers? Network layers are how many? 7. What is that? Application layer, presentation layer, session layer, network layer, database layer, data link layer, transport layer. ఇంకా అదే జాబ్ వచ్చేసింది మీకు. 7 layers is what? Network layers or OS layers? OS layers. Network layers are how many? 7? How many? 4. 4 or 5? 4. జాబ్ రాదు మీకు. నెట్వర్క్ లేయర్స్ అంటే ఓఎస్ లేయర్ చెప్పారు మీరు. ఐ ఆస్క్ నెట్వర్క్ లేయర్స్, యూ సెడ్ ఓఎస్ లేయర్స్. ఐ ఆస్క్ ఎస్ లేయర్స్, టక్ టక్ అని చెప్పేసి. నెట్వర్క్ లేయర్స్ ఆర్ ఓన్లీ 4. వాట్ లేయర్? అప్లికేషన్ లేయర్, ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ లేయర్. నెక్స్ట్ ఈజ్ వాట్? ఏమైంది? వాట్ హ్యాపెన్? Network layers are how many? 4. What is that layers? Okay, no problem. Non-IT students will feel what is this layers is. No problem. But remember, then come to this application physical layer. Session layer will not be there. Network layer 4. Yes. Networking layers are only 4, not 7. Oh, all are 7 only. OS layers are 7. Network layers are only 4. Physical layer, data link layer, network layer, application layer. Khatam. Yes, application layer, data link layer, network layer, physical layer. Yes. Then application layer. Okay, application layer. Now HTTP is which protocol? Which protocol? Application protocol. This protocol is used to develop. This protocol is used to develop applications. Yeah, this protocol is used for developing applications. Understood? This protocol is used for developing applications. For developing applications, you use which protocol? Application protocol. Yes. Okay, na? Right. Anyway, no problem. So certain things you should know it here, because you already know HTML, but you don't know server. No problem. I'll tell you what is a server. And inside the server is what? HTTP. Server understand only HTTP, but you are writing code in what? You are writing code in what? HTTP is not required, right? You should have a basics of HTTP. I'll explain that. Okay, na? Yes. See, your server is, I said just now, I said no, server. 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 Your server is which server? Which server? HTTP server. Why HTTP server is? Because this is browser, right? What do you type in browser? Will you send a request or not? Yes, by typing what? URL. What is URL? Uniform resource locator. Means you are requesting for resource or not? Yes. How you type it? What you are typing?
Edit kari de the video.
What you are typing? HTTP. What you are typing here? HTTP. It means this is who? Client, right? How you are talking in? You are communicating in which language? HTTP. You are sending a request using what? HTTP. You are sending using HTTP. Then who understand HTTP? Server. Then that server should be which one? HTTP. English person talk to English. Telugu person talk to Telugu. HTTP client talk to HTTP server. Array. Understood? HTTP client talk to whom? HTTP server. You send in some other language. Suppose this person knows Hindi, this person knows English. He talk in Hindi, he can understand. No, he cannot understand, right? So this client is sending a message using which protocol? HTTP. Then your server should be what? HTTP only. Your server should be what? HTTP. Now it takes the input or not? Yes. After taking the input, who is taking this input? Server. And after taking this input, what it is doing it? Or after taking this input, what it, you go to hotel. Okay, server knows English. Then you talk in what? English. You give order in what? English. Huh? You talk to server in what? English. Server Telugu వచ్చు, మనకి హిందీ వచ్చు. ఎట్లా మరి? Yes. Can you talk? No. He cannot understand what you are ordering it, right? So server, client is send a request by using input using HTTP. Then server is which server now? HTTP. So what is a server? Is a program which implement in web development. Always your server is what? HTTP server. So your server is which server? HTTP server. Because you are giving input using what? HTTP. Yes. HTTP is a request response protocol between client and user. Wrong. Client and user and both are same. Wrong. Bhai. Who's this? Farida. Huh? दो एक ही है. Client क्या है? User क्या है? दो है, एक ही है. Okay, right? Okay. Then what we'll do is we'll discuss in detail about what server, and within the server understand HTTP. But your program is written in which language? Python. Is it Python program executed by server? No. The server will take the help of another program that you call it as engines. We'll talk about that. But up to this, you understood? So don't miss the initial classes, because initial classes are very important to understand the technology. Okay, na? So initial classes, if you understand, remaining all the classes becomes easy. नहीं तो बीच में आके ये सर्वर क्या है, ये HTTP क्या है बोले तो नहीं मालूम रहता. Yes or no? Please try to attend the classes regularly. We'll see everything in detail. You are not learning basics of Django, right? You are learning in-depth Django. Okay, na? Right. So, but tomorrow you don't have class because first week, right? So, next class will be there on Monday. But from next week onwards, you'll have classes from Monday to Saturday. But tomorrow you don't have class, and next class will be on Monday, right? And this notes already uploaded in my Telegram. Yesterday's class notes I uploaded, and this is my Telegram ID. Okay. Now those are new, they can join it. Those are old, no problem. Yeah, I'll explain HTTP again, Roshni, right? I'll explain it, don't worry. I'll tell you what is protocol and everything in detail. Yes. Understood? Alright, tell me, understood this? This is my Telegram. Please join this Telegram. Yesterday also I uploaded notes, and today also I'll upload it. Okay, na? Thank you. We'll see you on Monday, right? Thank you.